Close your eyes. I want you to picture a T-Rex. What do you see? A giant killing machine, teeth sticking out even when its mouth is closed, sunken eyes and rough skin stretched tight over its skull like it's been starving? That is exactly the monster that blockbuster movies have sold us for the past 30 years. But what if I told you it is all a lie? Welcome to Dinosaur Trails. Today we are peeling back the Hollywood mask to see what these giants actually look like. And trust me, the truth is stranger than fiction. To understand just how wrong we've been, let's try a little experiment. Look at this skull. Terrifying tusks, aggressive bone structure. If an artist from the future found this skull and drew it using the Hollywood method, they would draw a nightmare beast. Skin vacuum-packed against the bone, teeth exposed. But in reality, it's just a hippo. A round, chubby water cow with a thick layer of fat hiding all that scary bone structure. This phenomenon is called shrink wrapping. Movie makers love to draw dinosaur skin tight against the bone to make them look scary. But real animals aren't built like that. They have fat, they have muscle, they have soft tissue. So, the real T-Rex? It was likely much chunkier. And most importantly, it had lips. A 2023 study suggests that T-Rex teeth were covered by lips to keep them moist, just like a lizard, not exposed and dry like a crocodile or a movie monster. The king of the dinosaurs probably looked more like a giant, chubby bird than a starving dragon. If the look didn't shock you, the sound will. Remember that iconic scene where the T-Rex roars in the rain, shattering the car glass? It is a masterpiece of sound design, but biologically, it is pure fantasy. Why? Because dinosaurs didn't have a larynx like mammals. Look at their closest living relatives, crocodiles and birds. Crocodiles don't roar with their mouths open. They create low-frequency infrasound from deep in their throat, usually with their mouths closed. And birds? They don't have a larynx either. They have a syrinx to sing. So, how did a T-Rex sound? Scientists believe it produced a deep, low-frequency rumble. A sound so low you would feel it vibrating in your chest before your ears even heard it. Imagine a giant pigeon mixed with a crocodile underwater. It doesn't deafen you, it paralyzes you with fear. That closed-mouth rumble is far more terrifying than a lion's roar. And speaking of fear, let's talk about the biggest lie that could actually get you killed if you time traveled. We all know the famous line from the movies, "Don't move! He can't see us if we don't move." The idea is that T-Rex vision is based on movement, like a frog. Well, I have bad news. If you stood still in front of a real Tyrannosaurus Rex, you would just be a very convenient, stationary lunch. Scientific analysis of the T-Rex brain and eye placement reveals something terrifying. They had binocular vision. Their eyes faced forward, giving them depth perception that was likely even better than a modern-day hawk. A T-Rex could spot you from 6 kilometers away, whether you were moving, dancing, or standing perfectly still. So please, if you see one, run. Although, that might not help either. Now, let's move from the head to the hands. This next mistake makes every paleontologist want to scream at the screen. Look at the hands of carnivorous dinosaurs in movies. They usually dangle their hands downwards, palms facing the ground or back towards their body, looking like a bunny rabbit or a dog standing on 2 legs. This is called pronated hands. But the brutal truth is, dinosaur bones simply cannot do that. The radius and ulna bones in their arms were locked tight. They couldn't twist their wrists to face the ground like humans can. If you see a raptor in a movie holding its hands like a bunny, technically, its wrists are broken. It would be an agonizing pain. The only anatomically correct posture is with the palms facing each other, like they are about to clap or holding a giant invisible beach ball. So the next time you see a dinosaur typing on a keyboard or opening a round doorknob in a movie, just remember, it's doing that with 2 broken wrists. Before we get to the final boss, we have to talk about the spitter, the Dilophosaurus. You remember it as the small, cute dinosaur with a rattling neck frill that spits black venom into the face of the bad guy. It is one of the most memorable monsters in cinema history. But in reality, almost everything about that scene was made up. First, there is zero evidence that Dilophosaurus had a neck frill like a lizard. Second, there is no evidence it could spit venom. And third, and most importantly, it wasn't small. The real Dilophosaurus was an apex predator of the early Jurassic, reaching over 20 feet in length. It was huge. It didn't need to hide in the bushes and spit poison. It would have simply crushed you with its jaws. Hollywood turned a giant wolf into a poisonous chihuahua. Wait, before we wrap up, there is one more classic scene we absolutely have to debunk: the Jeep chase. You know the scene. The heroes are driving away in a Jeep, shifting gears, going 30 or 40 miles per hour, and the T-Rex is right behind them, sprinting like an Olympic athlete. It's terrifying. It's intense. But physics has some bad news for Hollywood. Biomechanics simulations show that if an adult T-Rex actually ran at that speed, its leg bones would literally shatter under its own massive weight. The king of dinosaurs wasn't a sprinter. He was a power walker. His top speed was likely around 12 to 15 miles per hour. That is slower than a professional marathon runner. So, in reality, you wouldn't need a turbocharged Jeep to escape. A decent bicycle, or even a fast jog, might have been enough to leave the T-Rex in the dust. He was built for endurance, not for speed. And finally, we come to the fan-favorite villain, the Velociraptor. In the movies, it's taller than a man, sleek, scaly skin, intelligent, brutal. In reality, you are going to be disappointed. The real Velociraptor was the size of a turkey. I'm serious. It was about half a meter tall and 2 meters long, mostly tail. If you met a real Velociraptor, you could probably punt it like a football. Though I wouldn't recommend it, those claws are still sharp. But the biggest shock isn't the size, it's the feathers. In 2007, scientists found quill knobs on the arm bones of a velociraptor. This is undeniable proof that this species was covered in feathers. They look like a ground eagle or a murder turkey, not a scaly lizard. So what was that giant monster in the movies? The filmmakers actually based it on a different species called Deinonychus, but they thought the name Velociraptor sounded cooler, so they swapped the names. And of course, they plucked all its feathers because they were afraid the audience would laugh. But think about it. A fast, intelligent predator with the eyes of a hawk and razor-sharp claws rushing at you in total silence. The feathers don't make it less scary, they make it a realistic nightmare. So there you have it. Dinosaurs weren't the starving, screaming, naked monsters that movies sold us. They were real animals. They had fat. They had lips. They rumbled instead of roared. And many of them looked like giant birds. But to me, the truth doesn't make them any less cool. It makes the prehistoric world feel real. They aren't monsters from our imagination. They were the living, breathing masters of this planet. Thanks for joining this journey on Dinosaur Trails. If you enjoyed uncovering these myths, like and subscribe, and join us as we explore the next mystery of the ancient world.